an interesting year for sure, and I appreciate you making time for this. At this point, we will entertain a motion to approve our May minutes. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, this is Sally.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion? All right. If you approve, please say aye.
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 All right. Are there any opposed? All right, hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. And we'll now hear from Finance.
Okay, give me just a moment, everybody, and I will pull up the presentation. Give me just one moment, please.
Okay, thank you.
Alice, I don't know if you noticed that Lindsay joined us.
I did. Thank you so much.
Okay, Finance, we're ready to begin.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Our collections to date are approximately $655 million, and that is approximately $104 million over projection. And our expenditures to date are approximately $615 million.
What kind of projections are you thinking will be happening with the COVID for the remainder of the summer?
I'm sorry, you were cutting in and out on that question. Could you please repeat it?
Okay. Can everybody mute their we've got a lot of background. Okay. Regarding the virus and its impact on income, what projection showing for the rest of the summer?
I apologize. I still get a lot of feedback.
As am I. So,
There are still a lot of people unmuted, so if people can mute, that would help.
Yeah, I'm going to go in and mute everybody.
I'm actually having trouble trying to mute with this other screen up.
okay, it sounds better. Can you hear me better?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, great. Okay. How has the virus impacted what you were expecting?
We really haven't seen much impact. We're still over projection, what we had projected, so we really aren't seeing much impact on the receipts that we're collecting per month.
That's fabulous.
Do you expect to get enough money to complete all the projects in this list?
That I cannot answer. I can talk with our finance director, but I don't believe there's going to be an issue.
Does anybody else have any questions? Give them just a minute to unmute if they have questions.
This is Barclay. Was there any trend as to where the tax dollars are coming from that would show a different pattern than we've had in the past?
No, not that I'm aware of.
It just might be interesting if there's a way for us to see that for historic reasons going forward.
Okay, any further questions from anybody? Okay, somebody's typing. All right, if there's no further questions, we'll move on to the City of Austell.
Okay, give me just one moment and I'll bring up that presentation. Okay, Austell, we're ready.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Okay, as you can see on our second sheet there, our original budget was 3969, and our beginning budget is at 1.4. You can see our total expenditures and our remaining budget as of the state. Okay?
Okay.
And our next page is kind of what we've been doing with this money. And if you can look and see it, all the way to the right, it kind of tells a story where the majority of this money has been going. Any questions so far? Okay. The next page is kind of tells what we have spent. Like on the list on the left, it tells everything we've done.
The information technology upgrades, is that something like transportation control systems or something like that?
That was moving into the Windows 10. That was what we did that with. It was all just the updates there that we needed. The 7 was no longer working for us.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, anything else? Next page, it's kind of some of what we did. We did window resurfacing on the Bishop's Road, which was it's kind of like not all the way resurfacing, but it was bigger than a patch. It was probably 75, 100 feet long, both places. We did that. We did some striping downtown earlier this year. The speed bumps on Howden Street, we kind of put under the striping because of we had to put the stripes on there. Curb and gutter, I don't know exactly the footage offhand. We did put in some on a couple streets. The sidewalks, we're trying to get everything in ADA compliant, and we're trying to connect everything so nobody has to either walk in the street or in the grass or get their shoes wet just to go for a walk. Sign replacements, we've been moving into our neighborhoods, one neighborhood at a time, and getting all the updated and reflective signs up there so we can be compliant there. And that's kind of what we've done. And of course, everybody knows that the COVID's kind of held us back a little bit. So we've only been up and running just over a month now at full speed. Okay?
Okay.
And then on the next page, it's just some pictures of kind of what we've done. Like I say, the speed bumps, some ADA compliance, some new signs, and there's your information there about the Windows 10. You have pretty there. Okay? And then the next page is just kind of what we're kind of looking at as we get back in the swing of things. Some more resurfacing, that's always going to be on our agenda. The striping, we kind of like to keep it up and fresh so that we can keep everybody in the right lane. And the sidewalks is the more people are getting to stay at home, it finds they're out walking a lot, so, which is good. And then we try to connect those. And then the maintenance equipment, it's just kind of what we need for those. That's just a couple things that we're looking at. And that's, of course, the sign replacement and upgrades, that's going to be continuous till we get the whole city done. Okay? And that's kind of the in and the outs of it. Anybody got any questions for me? Awesome.
Any questions for Austell? All right, I guess we will move on then to Marietta. Thank you, Austell.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, one moment, and I'll bring up Marietta's first presentation.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
We'll start with the 2011 update, which is our shortest, being the collections and everything over with it. We have our two major projects that we're still working on is the Powder Springs Streetscape project and the Fairgrounds Streetscape project. We are still working on right-of-way acquisition and utility relocations for both of those projects. As soon as that is completed, then we'll be moving forward, getting those out to bid and getting those projects started under construction. COVID has slowed us down a little bit deliberately, just for a cash flow basis and nothing else right now, just keeping an eye on all the money that's coming in. But again, we have the money to do those two projects. So as soon as we get through these two or some of these items here, then we're going to get these projects out and get them started. From the last update we gave you, we did finish up the North Marietta Parkway and Cobb Parkway intersection improvement. GDOT has signed off on that, and so we are done with that project. And we're recently received some right-of-way authorization from Federal Highway Authority to start working on Rottenwood Creek Trail Phase 1 for design purposes for that. So that's what we're doing with 2011. You can see there on that first slide where we're at. Most of that money that's left there is just for some miscellaneous is the excess that we have not encumbered yet, and we're anticipating if we have any cost overruns for Fairground and Powder Springs, that's where that money will be used at this point. So we've got a couple additional slides on 2011, but that's pretty much, as a picture there, the North Marietta Parkway and Cobb Parkway intersection has been completed now. And last page there is just kind of a repeat, I think, from our last presentation. It shows you the public safety, the fire station out on Sawyer Road, as well as our traffic control center that was completed in 2011. So, any questions on the 2011?
Is the public safety facility, how much has been done and what's left to do?
It is everything that was outlined under the SPLOST has been completed. The fire station is up and running. All the equipment, everything was purchased. The site is completed. The fire department does have some other things that we are programming in, hopefully for the next SPLOST, for equipment purchases and things for them, training towers and things, as well as some police department needs for that site. But as far as everything that was requested under the 2011 SPLOST, everything has been completed for that site, that project.
Right. Any
Okay.
other questions on the 2011 SPLOST? Okay, let's move ahead.
Okay, 2016 SPLOST. There we go. shows you what we have received thus far and what we have committed or encumbered. Very close to what we have received in all the 2011 SPLOST, and what we have committed. As you can see in the pie chart there, what we have so far committed those funds for transportation, our core and general projects, and then our capital improvements. So those are continuing on work. Next slide will break down those core projects as to what those types are and what we're using that money for. The picture there in the upper right hand there shows, and I'll talk about that in just a minute, on completed projects. That is Roswell Street from Atlanta to Waddell Street. That sidewalk and streetscape improvement project there, which is continuing on that last phase of the square improvement project that we had going on. We recently completed that back in late January, early February. So that project now has, we started that in that time frame. We completed it in late March. So that project has been completed now. If you've not driven through there, it's turned out very, very well. Made a significant improvement there for the parking, as well as the sidewalk improvements through there. Been able to move people up and down, pedestrians up and through there, and especially for the businesses to have additional room for for the tables and things for the customers to sit out there on the sidewalk. Although we've not had a lot of use for that yet during the COVID, but hopefully once all that's over with, we'll see a lot more people sitting out on the sidewalk for that. Next slide talks about the transportation projects that we have completed during the 2016 SPLOST. I mentioned the Roswell Street streetscape project as one we completed since our last update. The other one that we have formally now completed, I think we still had a few outstanding items last time we were in front of you, is the Allgood and Sawyer Road intersection improvement. We have now completed that project in its entirety. So that has been, that now has been completed as well. So phone just will not quit ringing. This slide here shows the active projects that we have currently in design or in concept at this point. We'll be moving these forward again as we move on through the COVID pandemic. The Kennesaw Avenue streetscape project, council just recently gave their blessing on the design of that, which was an approved project in this SPLOST. So we're continuing right now to decide how we're going to bid that out and take that through as a project itself, whether we do it as one big project or we kind of piecemeal it out, but or how much of that we do internal. But that one has been approved by mayor and council at this point. Some of the others, and we're going to sit back and kind of take a hold on until we get through the pandemic, and then we'll come back and finish them up. The 041 bridge, that's our joint project with Cobb DOT. That project is continuing underway. Continue to make progress. It's somewhat of a slow progress, but it is making progress at this point. The other one I'll mention is Sawyer Road at Canton. That intersection improvement, we finally got all the paperwork worked out with the railroad. So we have given the go-ahead to the contractor and the railroad to start working on that intersection. So that one, you'll see some work on that, and we'll talk about more of that probably at our next update. We'll have more photos and things of that one as we're moving through. So next slide. I mentioned the Kennesaw Avenue one being updated and approved. The rest of these you see on here, we have on our list. We're just going to sit back and wait at this point until we finish seeing how things go, and then we'll continue working those through the progress. We're not anticipating abandoning these or defunding these by any stretch of the imagination. We still want to see these done. We just want to wait a little while longer before we push them on forward a little bit. Next slide. And then, of course, our public safety projects, we're continuing to purchase vehicles for the fire and police department through this SPLOST. We're averaging somewhere around 5 to 8 vehicles for the police department each year so far, and fire departments getting not major fire department fire trucks, but they're getting support vehicles, a couple of those a year right now. That was approved in the SPLOST, so we're working through that as what they've been allowed. And next slide. Then the final capital improvement is phase 2 of our Public Works building, which is our fleet maintenance portion of our Public Works facility. That is now underway. Contractor started a few weeks back, and they're continuing to work on that now. You have the picture there on the left-hand side, some of the site demolition that has started there. The hope is that project will be completed in the next 8 to 12 months. Depending on when they get the building steel in, but that's the outside schedule anyways at this time. And next slide, that's it. Anybody have any questions on the 2016 for us?
Mark, quick question. You indicated about a $50 million collection to this point. Is that pretty much where you guys expected to be? Are you running ahead, about even, or what about?
We are running a little bit ahead of our initial projections at this point. I don't have that exact dollar figure in front of me, exactly how much ahead we are, but we are ahead of schedule, or ahead of our projections at this point. So I do anticipate that by the end of the SPLOST, I still think we'll be ahead of our projections. We're still monitoring how much COVID is hitting us. So far, for us anyways, COVID it has hit us, but it hasn't hit us as bad as what I was initially anticipating it to hit us. So I think we'll still come out very well above revenue, above projections.
Very good.
I can have more of that information at our next update, more specifics once we kind of get through this pandemic and see where we're at.
Okay.
Now that school has been going virtual for the first part of the year, do you anticipate maybe moving up some road projects so that the buses wouldn't be a problem?
We definitely take all that in consideration, and as some of these bigger projects, that will play into that decision definitely. We went ahead and we got a little late start on our resurfacing program to do some internal issues with our purchasing department, but we have started our resurfacing. We'll be resurfacing about 12.5 miles of streets right now, and we hope to have that completed before school gets started, so we won't have any issues with the buses at that point. Well, and we won't have the buses to deal with, but with any additional traffic at that point as well. So, but yes, we'll take all that in consideration as we're deciding on what projects would move forward.
Okay. Any other questions for Mark? All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. We'll hear from facilities.
Okay, well, good afternoon. This is Scott Barfield. And our contractors really have not missed a beat during this pandemic. All the projects are on schedule to finish on time. Our second slide here, of course, is the money that we're working with. We're still fitting inside all the budget numbers. Next slide. If you look at public safety, the work we're doing there, the police training facility is scheduled to be completed in October. We should get the CO. If you were to go out there today, you're going to see that we have flooring, paint. The auditorium is underway now. The streetscape area is underway. Fire Station 7 is on Hurt Road. If you haven't been by there in a while, you'd be amazed how much work has been done. There is a building that's coming up now. We have some small renovation jobs. Fire Station 8, we're working on reworking their kitchen. And then police headquarters, the LGE facility, where bids are being priced out right now for IS and for a facility or a building to be built out in the back parking lot. Again, there's still, LGE is still in the building, and they will be till November. And then, of course, hopefully in November, we'll be moving some of the police officers in at that time. Next slide. Judicial, the state court to SUU, that job is complete. We are just working through some security issues with the sheriff. And we hope to move them in the basement or to the basement area, I would say, in the next month. Public services, Schweitzer Library, we should start moving them in the middle of August, and they should be in that facility in September. Should get a CO in September on that one. Next slide. The medical examiners, that facility is basically complete. That will open up September as well. If you haven't been by there in a while, it really looks good. It was looking rough there for a while when you rode by and you had a construction trailer out front, but they've got that moved now. All the landscape's going in, so it's fitting into the facility or to the landscape a whole lot better. I would say that except for the facility next door, which James Bond. It just really doesn't fit with James Bond, but it fits for the fire station next to it. But that will open up come September. Fleet services, we just started that project. We've tore down the old motorcycle shop where the new facility will be going, and we've moved the motorcycle shop to a new location on the property. All that IS talk a little bit about the data center. Next slide, and we'll look at some of the pictures. This is the old motorcycle shop as they were tearing it down. If you go out there today, it's gone. The slab's gone. And we're grading the property now. Next slide. Of course, this is fleet as well. A new storm line being installed. It's sort of disrupted some of their work out there. Everybody's having to drive around a little bit further, drive around the building. Next slide. Of course, this is Fire Station 7. Again, if you go out there today, there's more work has been done. Next slide. Another picture of Fire Station 7. This is a poor picture, but this is inside the auditorium at the police training facility. It's going to seat over 400 people. It's going to be nice. It is going to be one nice facility when it's complete. It's going to be large. It's going to have future space. It should be something that Cobb County citizens should be proud of. Next slide. This is part of the streetscape. This would be a house. So you can see where the paint and all is. There's going to be a street. They'll be able to push a car into the street. You'll have the officer will be challenged to go into the house. He'll be challenged to go into a Econo Lodge type facility. There'll be a courtroom there. There'll be several different scenarios that the officers will be asked to go into or be put into. Next slide. Okay, this is, of course, the medical examiners. It's a little bit, that cabinets are in now. That's just, so I would have to say it's an outdated picture. A lot's getting done every day out there. If you look up to where that ladder is, that's a viewing. That's where people would be able to sit up top, and they'll be able to look in and observe an autopsy going on. Next slide. Of course, this is the outside of it. This is the front side from county services. Next slide. And then here's Schweitzer. Wow, if you go out to Schweitzer, they went wild on the colors out there, but they look good. When you walk through, they look good, but they've got every color in the book on this job. Next slide. Obviously, if you see the colors here in the children's area. Next slide. Any questions?
At the Sewell Mill Library, the kids section was really open and created a great deal of noise, and y'all went back and fixed that with some partitions. Is there going to be a similar space and possible problem at Schweitzer?
I don't believe so, because when you go over to Sewell, it's set up where everybody's on one floor, one level. The children area is in the basement section, so they're away from the adult area and the upstairs. So I don't believe you'll have that same issue. No, ma'am.
It's kind of the outside area there. They put a fence up, right, so that the children can't just go out. Before, I think that's what they were showing me when you went over last time.
That is correct.
Once
There's an outside seated area, but it will be contained with a fence.
Once we get through with COVID, I think it would be great if we could visit some of these facilities, get a tour.
Sure, I'd be happy to take a few at a time if you would like as well, instead of waiting before they do open, because they're going to start opening up soon and real quick. Very exciting.
Any other questions?
I don't have a question per se, and I may get in trouble for saying this. I have seen the police facility because I happen to represent the architect that's working in there, and y'all are going to be blown away. And also very impressive, the work that y'all have done in-house on building that facility. It was just, it's really very well done. There's a lot done, but it looks great, and I think it's going to be a major, because I have an opportunity to work with police in other areas. I think we're going to have an awful lot of visitors from all over the United States looking at what we have created here, because it is state of the art, and that auditorium is going to be really nice for public meetings and things like that. But I was very fortunate to get a tour and just say, well, the job has been very well done. The gentlemen, people on that job were great when we were taking the tour, very informative, but nice job.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It took a lot of teamwork with police on this, with them working together and deciding what needed to be and where it needed to be. But yes, ma'am, thank you for that. I'll pass that on to everybody.
Appreciate it.
What is the time frame y'all have in mind for the police headquarters and then the training facility?
Okay, so headquarters, we hope to be moving in. We won't be moving everybody in all at once. We hope to move people in starting with the top floor, but that will start October, November, moving them in. Again, we're working on pricing out. IS is pricing out. Of course, we got to change. We got LG still in the building, but we're having to price out new equipment to change over to our, the data. But that project, after we get going, they'll start moving in, and I would hope that come spring of next year that we'll have them moved in completely.
And then the training center?
Training center, we hope to have a CO in October.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you. We'll hear from public safety now.
Hey, this is Adam's story. I'll be going over the slides today.
Okay.
And I guess our first slide, the biggest change is we now have a director, not an interim director, Randy Crowder. So that's a nice welcome for us. And if we'll go to the next slide, this will show all the different projects. And the biggest thing I want to say here is a lot of these other projects that we did get to close out, we were able to move those savings over to police training to help with the funding there to get that project off and going. So next slide. We're going to run through these really quick. These are completed projects that you've seen before. So just take a look there. And then we can go to the next slide. Again, these are just completed projects that you've seen before. the rest of the, now we'll be getting into, once we get through these completed projects, some updates, and Scott's talked about some of them already. The current projects we're working on now, we are in the process of locating property for Station 29. That's a new rendering that we came up with that you see there. One of the property owners will want to see what it might look like, and that's the first rendering for Station 29. And again, we are working with 2 different locations in the Cumberland area for 29, and that's the architectural drawing for Station 7. So if you do go out to Station 7, and you'll see that column where the number 7 is on the rendering, you'll see that up. That's the front stairwell, and you'll also see the second stairwell. So they look like 2 towers sitting out there on the lot, but they are coming up with block now, and they will be pouring slab next week. So next slide. So again, Scott's covered the police headquarters and police training very well. I would like to say, once police move out and they're in their new training facility, we will then start renovating fire training, the current DPS training facility, and start renovating that once police move out. Next slide. And here's the rest of the small projects going on. Some of them are completed. The police renovations, we completed Precinct 2, and we're out at Precinct 4 in East Cobb right now doing an interior renovation. All the fitness centers have been completed. We've installed fencing, bathroom renovation at Precinct 1. We still have Precinct 2 and Precinct 4 bathroom to do. And then lastly, a little bit about Precinct 6. That's out off of Sandy Plains Road area. And we'll start working with property on the renderings for that, and hope probably beginning of the year, start working on Precinct 6. So I know that was pretty quick, but those are really all that's going on right now. The major ones are the fire stations and getting police situated in their 2 new facilities. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Technology.
So this is Sharon, guys. And so first, this will be probably the last meeting that I attend with you guys for a while. I'd like to introduce Kimberly Lemley. You all know that Eddie retired. I have moved into the agency, support services agency head position, and Kimberly Lemley is now the new IS director. So she'll be giving you your presentation this morning. I think you'll find she's going to do a wonderful job. She was already familiar with most of it, and you have seen many of her projects already, like the Unified Court Case Management System that we've talked about. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kimberly.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So I'm going to let Yolanda get the slideshow started real quick. All right. So our first slide today is just our regular slide that you've seen many times on budget. So we'll go on to the next slide. So we have had some a good bit of movement on many of our projects here in the last few months. So our expenditures have gone up a little bit. Next slide. So for the data center build, Scott touched on the project a little bit, but we've gotten a lot accomplished over the last few months. I would say not a lot has slowed down on this project due to COVID. Vendors that we're working with have been really responsive, and our IS staff has been feverishly working to get things completed. So a couple of things that we've completed, the assessment of our network and our application mapping. We've completed that and received the report back on that, and that's important as we migrate over all of our servers and applications to our new data center. This is a requirement for us to make sure we have a complete inventory of that. And then the equipment and room requirements for the Marietta Square network communications hub. We have that in a draft version, and we're currently reviewing it. Some of the things that we have in progress and we've actually had some additional progress since we put this together a few days ago. We released the sealed bid for the roof and generator, and I believe we've gotten back the bid on the roof. So we're working with property management on the next steps for that. The technology, architecture, and design for our network, we're working on that and developing our cost list. Also working on a migration plan for our new printing center. We've got to move all of our printing equipment over to the new data center. So we've got a plan for everything pretty much. We're going to try to have us a foolproof plan so we don't miss anything. And then we're also working on finalizing the power supply requirements for the new data center, which will include dual power feeds and the smart grid technology from Marietta Power, which is going to make us more redundant, and we don't have a single point of failure there when it comes to power issues. So any questions on that slide? Okay. Next slide. And then these are our projects that have been completed. I don't believe we've had any changes here on this one, so we'll move on to the next slide. Unified Court Case Management System. This is a project, like Sharon said, it's near and dear to my heart. I have been involved in this project since 2014 is when it initially started. So we finally went to the board with our agenda item to award the contract to Pioneer Technology Group on June 9th. So we have started the conversation with the vendor in terms of the kickoff meeting. We actually have a call I think it's tomorrow. I can't remember. Maybe it's next week. We have a call next week with our vendor to plan out the kickoff meeting, and our kickoff meeting should be in September. So it's about 90 days out from the contract signing. So we are super excited to see this finally moving, and it's going to just fly by, and we'll get this thing implemented soon, I hope. So at least starting the implementation soon. Business license system. This is another exciting project. The BOC approved contract with Tyler on April 28th. And there was actually a kickoff call today to start that process. So we have a lot of homework to do, kickoff calls. There's a lot of information gathering, so we've got to provide a lot of information back to the vendor, and we'll move forward in those next steps. Our Chronos time and attendance system, we haven't had a lot of activity on this project just because some of these items slowed down due to COVID. We obviously, as IT, we had to pivot very quickly to get people remotely working, and we've not stopped since this has started back in March. And so some things we had to reprioritize. So this one we haven't had a lot of activity on, but we plan to start working on some additional features and capabilities in 2021, and then we'll continue the installation of the Chronos clocks pretty soon. I mean, those are not that big of a project to get completed. And then our fleet and fueling system upgrade. We're working on that project, migrating over to a new database platform. So that's kind of our first step in the upgrade process. And once we work through those processes, we'll work on the actual application upgrade. And then police technology enhancements. This is a new project. We had some money allotted in our SPLOST for police and sheriff technology enhancements. With the police department, we had to help fund some of the progress that needs to be made on the LGE building. And so working with the chief, we decided to use some of our money to purchase all the technology, the infrastructure, the switches and the routers for the building. So we actually have purchased that, and we're in the middle of receiving the equipment. We haven't gotten everything in yet. Some of the equipment is a little bit delayed due to COVID. So as we get it, we're we're going to work with PD and property to get over this building and get it installed so we can start getting people moved in later this year. Any questions on any of those items?
Kimberly, the Unified Court Management System and the business license system, I'm just curious, how will those two systems differ in the way we handle things going forward than what we've done in the past?
So the Unified Court Case Management System is, it's going to be completely different. Right now, there's a couple of different aspects. For the actual users in the court system, the benefit of this is that they will be able to communicate across all of the courts. So right now we have state court is on one system, superior court is on another system, and then we have other smaller systems that they don't all talk to each other. So this is bringing all the courts together, which was a huge accomplishment. You know, all the elected officials agreed to be on this system. So when a judge is in the courtroom and he has got a defendant in front of him who, you know, he's considering what he's going to do in terms of sentencing, he can look in this system and he can see all the involvements that this individual's had within the court system. He's not just limited to seeing superior court information. He can see every time he's touched, you know, our court system, and that is just huge for judges as they make their decisions. And then for the public, of course, this is a more efficient way of handling business. So we're not piecemealing all these different systems. This is more efficient, but there's also going to be more public access available to the citizens or to people that are dealing with the courts. There's going to be, we do have some stuff out there, you know, people can look up certain information for court cases, but there's going to be an attorney portal so they can log in and see information about their cases, and then a public portal that will give them more information. We'll have more ability to e-file throughout the courts. Some of the courts don't all e-file currently, and this will allow them to do that, so people don't have to come in to the office and visit the courthouse. They can do it all from their computer. So that's sorry, I go on and on about UCCMS because it's like my baby. It's my project that's very near and dear to me. And then in terms of the business license system, we're improving the processing and the financials of the system in terms of the way that we report things. There's going to be, and I can tell you that I don't have all the details on this, because this business license system isn't something that was under me previously before I was promoted. So I can get some more information for you, but also the automation, there's going to be more automation and better capabilities for the businesses that are using the system. But I can certainly get more details for you on that and email that out to the committee.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay, anything else on that one? No? Okay, next slide. Okay, and then another project, Scott knows this, near and dear to my heart, is the security projects that are going on in the county. One of my goals that started many years ago was to try to get the county on one access control system so we don't have all these different badges on a lanyard carrying them around trying to get into the different facilities. So this project, thankfully, we were able to get SPLOST money for this, and we have made a lot of progress since the last update. Since Sharon last presented, we've completed access control at our DOT, CCT, and paratransit facilities. Property management has been completed to the Powder Springs Station complex. Property is included in that. And then our fitness center in that same facility, and the health clinic that it's at the end there has been completed. And then senior services, all of the outlying senior centers have been completed and have a new access control system. And then we're still working on the main wellness center that's in Powder Spring Station, but that's very close to being completed. And then the community development office that's in Powder Spring Station, we only have one door left. So we'll have that one on the completed slide next time. And then public safety facilities, I'm super excited about this one because we have our current system that we have in public safety has been in place since, I think, like 1998 or 99. So we have one precinct left, one public safety facility left to do, and that's precinct 1 up in North Cobb. And we are working on that. The vendor's working on that as we speak, and it should be done probably in a couple of weeks. And then we can have a party to burn down the old system because it's on its last leg right now. So any questions on the security? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me add one other thing. Sentence Enforcement Unit. That's one of Scott's projects as well. And just to second what he said, we have some security not issues really, but concerns that we need to address with the sheriff's office and court security. We put in our new system there, and there's just some tweaks we need to make sure that the SO is comfortable with the new system. And hopefully that will be wrapped up and finished before our next presentation as well. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And is Sharon still on?
Looks like she is.
Yeah, I had to unmute. Yes, ma'am, I am.
Right. I just wanted to congratulate you, and I'm sure the rest of the committee would like to do so as well on your promotion, and we wish you well.
Thank you. Thank you. These teams are still under me, so you'll be hearing from me, but I'm real thrilled. So
Great. Well,
still a great team.
And I don't think we have any other business, so we will adjourn the meeting and we'll see y'all in September. Thank you.